So today is 170, also very short hymn, even shorter than previous. So we will finish it today of Parashara Shakya to Agni. Vanema purvih aryo manisha Agnih sushoko vishvani ashyah Adaiviyani vrata chekitvan Amanushasya manushasya janasya janma Vane mapurvih aryo manisha. I'm just looking for the rhythm. Vanema purvih aryo manisha agnih sushoko vishvani ashyah adaiviyani vrata chekitvan amanushasya janasya janma. May we win the many reaches. May the fire flaming high with his light master by the thinking mind take possession of all things that are. He who knows the laws of the divine workings and knows the birth of the human being. My interpretation, may we conquer the many fulfilling things of the Spirit, Vanema Purvih, and the Lord, the higher ideas. This was long ago. We can change this. May Agni, flaming perfect, reach them all, he who sees all divine laws and the birth of every mental creature. So I will go word by word, it will help. So Vanema, may we conquer, or may we win, or may we even enjoy, rejoice. May we rejoice and win is the same idea. When we enjoy, it means we already conquered, we already made our own. We made part of ourselves, so to say, appropriated. That becomes part of our enjoyment. Purvih manisha, they can be connected as many impulses to mental impulses, or higher, also we can translate as higher mentality, manisha, wisdom, usually translated. But it is a composition of two words, so kind of seeking or wanting mentality, aspiration to become more and more mental, so to say, mental in the higher sense. That is wisdom. Wisdom to become more and more unifying, more seeking oneness, seeking meaning in everything. And that is that seeking meaning and oneness in everything is manisha. I could translate it in this way. Sri Aurobindo translates Aryah Manisha as the master of the thinking mind. Aryah, also a very tricky word in the Veda, because it can be from Ari, the genitive case, or Arya as a master and lord, which is given only by Yaska, as you see here, and by Panini. But truly speaking, it's a tricky word. Whenever we meet it, we have to be always, there are several interpretations always possible. So it could be from Ari. Ari also has two meanings, very interesting word. Ari has a meaning of an enemy, as you know, and Ari has a meaning of the friend. Friend and enemy. So here we are. So this, the interpretation of the later time is that Ari is from Ara, not giving, and that is the enemy. But I don't think so. I think it is artificial interpretation. I think both words Adi are from root 3, to be active, and how to say, settled within one's own belief system, so to say. Not easily convinced by others, have firm convictions of one's own. And these Adis actually can be either friends or enemies, because if you are on the side as a friend, on your side, then he is becoming a friend, a real friend, whom you don't need to convince, or you don't need to influence his mind, because he has his own belief, trust. Or if he is on the side of the enemy, he is a real enemy, not the enemy which you can easily change his mind or convince or buy or bribe. He will stand till the end. So this is, I think, the active one. Ari is the active one, who has his own conviction. And from here, Arya is a noble one who believes in himself, who has this drive within himself to change the world, to transform the world by the divine presence. So Aryas are usually Aryan peoples, as Sri Aurobindo translates this, and explains these are not races, but these are the peoples who wanted the divine manifestation and worked for it, yes, basically. So Arya, you see, such a tricky word, so many shades of meaning here. So Agni Sushokah. Sushokah, it's a typical Vedic word. Shoka later makes shock in the post-Vedic literature, but here it is flame or light, with perfect light and flame. Vishwani Ashyach, may he get or enjoy all the things. Adaiviyani, Vratani, Chikitvan, having kind of knowing all the divine laws of existence or ways of being. Amanushasya, Manushasya, Janasya, Janma, and all the birth of mental creatures. Interesting creature here I translate, though it is man or people, Jana, but it's from Jan, to be born. Janma, you see, they are not afraid to repeat the same root. This was typical for the ancient poets. They love to use the same root twice, thrice, even more times. Even to have the similar sound in other words, which would resemble the same root. Yes, this was typical for these poets, because they re-emphasized the same meaning of being in the body, Janma, to be born in the body of the mental creature, mental being, human being. Manusha we translate as man, usually, or Manushya or Manusha. It's all from Manu. Manu is our matrix from which we as Manushyas are produced, yes? The mental framework. And from here we have Manvantaras, and within these Manvantaras, the mental being was evolving and developing. That's why they're called Manvantaras, because there are always new period of Manu, with new set of rishis, with new Veda, which is brought from the beginning of Manvantara. And we follow that kind of vision of the group soul, which Veda represents, and embody it. That's why the Rig Veda and the Vedas in India were so important to keep up with. The whole tradition was keeping it intact of the memory, because memorizing, because it was important for the humanity in general to have this text, because this is the program of our group soul, of humanity. Now we can deconstruct and see that it is so, in a way, because they are speaking about fundamental forces in nature, yeah? About the evolution of consciousness. We can see this. Next verse. Garbho yo apam garbho vananam garbhascha sthatam garbhascharatham adrauchit asmai asma by Sandhi antardurone vishamna vishvo amritach svadhih. Garbhoyo apam, the garbha, you know that it is the embryo, or sometimes translated as a child. The embryo or the child, he is the child of the waters, apam, the child of the forests, vananam, the child of things stable and the child of things that move, sthatam garbhasharatham. Adrauchit asmai. Even in the stone, he is there for man, for this, literally for asmai. He is there in the middle of this house, of his house, antardurone. He is one universal in creatures. He is as one universal in creatures. Visham na vishvach. So he is like universal in all the peoples. Of all the peoples, he is the universal one. He is the immortal, Amritach, and the perfect thinker, Svadhich. In my interpretation, he is the embryo in waters, the embryo in forests, the embryo of all that move and move not. He entered the infinite stone of inconscient. For him, you see, I'm kind of doing something here. And for him, because it is for him, it can be for man or for someone. And in the house, he is the omnipresent one of all who came here, immortal with perfect mentality. I can explain my translation, interpretation in this way, that he is this infinite stone of inconscient, Adri. Adri is used in the Rig Veda as that infinite rock at the bottom of the inconscient. That infinite rock which we have to break through, coming down into the darkness. In our group with Savitri, we are reading now the passages from the Descent into Night, where he goes deeper and deeper into the darkness until he reaches the bottom. And the bottom is the densest night, the densest absence of consciousness, where the light of the soul disappears. So one has to kind of break through that infinite rock, Adri, of the Veda. And breaking through, Sri Aurobindo himself describes his own experience. He was digging into that infinite density, and by breaking through, he discovered the supreme light hidden within. So this is Adrauchit Asmai, and for him, he is even in the Adri. So I'm translating in the infinite stone or rock of inconscient. For him, for whom? For him I put capital H, that means I mean for the Supreme, he is there hiding. And in the house, he is the omnipresent one of all. Who came here? Visham na. Vish is translated as peoples, and Visham of the peoples. He is Vishva. Notice this also repetition of the same sound again. Visham na Vishvach. Vishvah, interesting word also. Vishvas, Vishva. Va is usually a suffix vat, van, vas is suffix of possessing, holding. Vish is root to enter, to come in. Yeah. So Vish is those who came in, literally, peoples, creatures who entered this manifestation, who entered the night with their light. So for all those who entered into this night, he is the one who possesses all those who entered Vishvach, the universal, from here. So Vish, this interesting word. From here, Vaishya. Vaishya as Varna of, one of the Varnas, traders. Because this is the biggest Varna, mainly people are Vaishyas. Yeah. Yeah, and Suadhir, interesting, with perfect mentality. Sva, su, a, dhir. Dhir root, a prefix, su prefix. Dhi is to focus. Dhimahi, yes, we focus, concentrate our consciousness upon. So this capacity to concentrate consciousness is connected with this higher mentality. So we have the capacity to hold any object of sense or any image of things. Yeah, we can focus our consciousness and hold that. This capacity is a higher capacity of the mind, not lower. From here we have this dhyayati, dhyana. Yeah? We have dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, 3 stages in Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So dhyana is that stage where we effortlessly concentrate our consciousness. We don't need to apply any effort to hold it there. It is kept by itself, as it were, on the image of things. It becomes natural for us to hold any subject. And you notice this very well when people who develop their minds, they have the capacity to hold one line of thought. And maybe through the whole lecture, deviating in many different directions, they come back to the same lineage of thinking. You notice this most probably, yes? This is the developed mind which can hold the same topic through. Doesn't have to remember it, doesn't have to, it is very natural for it to follow the thread of thought. So he is the one, immortal, who has that perfect capacity to hold the mind on any object or mentality. He is the possessor of all those who entered into this manifestation inside the house with many doors, inside the body, and even in the rock for him, in the very inconscient, in the densest inconscient. He is in the one who moves and moves not. He is the son of waters and of the forests. Forests can be translated also as of the delights, because vanam is also the delight. The same root van, we started the hymn with vanema, may we win. Yeah, you'll notice van, vanam, and tadvanam in Kena Upanishad, that is the delight. The delight of forest, because soma is there, that ambrosia, that very juice, nectar of the being is within.
Vladimir, for this, I'm sorry, there's an echo. For this statement, even in the stone, he is there for man. That implies to me that the inconscient, the presence of consciousness, even what appears to be unconscious? Or would it be that it's more the divine presence is there in everything?
Yes, yeah, what you said, in the inconscious, in the deepest, in the most, yes, densest, in the densest inconscience, he is there for him, for this. And for this, for him, we do not know who it is, yes? Asmai. Sri Aurobindo translates for man.
Yeah.
Man may be in the sense of as the one who is doing this evolution. He is there also, because the otherwise inconscient would not be able to do its work. You remember in Savitri, yes. If the divine is not there, inconscient would fall into oblivion. Yeah, it would disappear because it is not. So how that which is not can do its work? There's no way, unless there's someone within which allows it to be inconscient. Because he is there, says Sri Aurobindo, the inconscient does its work. You remember in Savage? Because he is there, the world forgets to die. We had to die already long ago, but we forget to die. I mean, kind of dragging on, continuing to live.
Yes.
Yeah, this Adri is, yeah, go ahead.
My question was, now it's partially answered, but I still want to have the full answer, is then why is the rock infinite, the inconscient? Why are you calling it infinite when we are going to penetrate, or we are going to go through to make the breakthrough and then reach the light? Then why is it because infinite you can never finish, right?
Yeah, it's in
Why
infinite
do we keep saying
night, infinite rock.
infinite rock, infinite inconscient? Why?
Yeah, there is something about it because the light is infinite, and then the night is infinite. Yeah, it is somehow kind of, it is a shade or shadow of light, because light is infinite. So it can create an infinity of the denial of its own consciousness. Consciousness is infinite, and the denial of it is infinite. So in a way, it's quite logical. There's no.
Yeah. Now it's complete logical. It's very beautiful, actually.
And it is needed to be so, because otherwise, if it would be kind of well, it is in a way, as Sri Aurobindo puts it, and we discussed this in our course in the Rig Veda also, that the night is actually not our beginning nor our end. Yes, as Sri Aurobindo says in Savitri, night is not our beginning nor our end. To her we come from the supernal light. By light we live, and to the light we go. So she is a kind of a passage for us, yeah, through which we have to go for the sake of manifesting the divine. He also starts this Savitri in the same way. Yeah? It was the hour before the gods awake, across the path of the divine event. What is this divine event? And across the path there was the huge foreboding mind of night, alone in her unlit temple of eternity, lay stretched immobile upon silence march. So across the path. So we have to cross the path, the field of night. Yeah, we from light, we go to light, from the divine to the divine, and crossing the field of night. So this is the field of our action, activity, yeah? So to say. And this Adri rock is the very foundation of this night which we have to cross. And we have to meet it sooner or later. Better later than sooner. Nobody wants to go to that rock.
I think better sooner than later.
Right?
Go out free light again.
Kalidasa, as you are. Kalidasi. Mother says that Kalidasa is a very daring name, because to be the servant of Kali, you have to really agree to face the divine in everything, and not to have any fear, to be totally courageous, and to give oneself totally to the divine. Yeah, whatever you want to do, do. I'm ready. So you are Kalidasi. I say late is better than sooner. You know, sooner is better. Well, even Mother, when she read these cantos of the Descent into Night and the next one, the Worlds of Falsehood, the Mother of Evil and the Sons of Darkness, she said this is scary, really, to read. This experience is so dense of darkness and denial of the divine. So that's what I meant to say. Better not to be in a hurry to go there, to accumulate enough divine force and light to be ready to be carried there for the divine work. Yes, it's not on the level of individual decision, it's a universal force. Yeah, and so all right, we move to the next. Sahi Kshapavan Agni Rayinam Dashad yo asmai aram suktaihi etachikitvo bhumani pahi devanam janma martanscha vidman. The fire is a master of the nights. Here they come. He gives off the riches to him who prepares for him the sacrifice and the perfect words. O thou who art conscious, guard as the knower these worlds and the birth of the gods and mortal man. The birth of the gods and mortal man, that birth of gods and man birth. This birth is interesting thing. It's kind of formation within time and space for the sake of manifestation, taking form, taking body, becoming embodied entity for the work to be done, becoming the nod or the knot of the forces through which all the forces will go and make a transformation possible. So we become like radio stations, yes, receiving light and transmitting it into the darkness constantly. He is of Kshapavan. He is the master of the nights. He is indeed the master of nights. Flame of the riches, Agni Rayinam, should give to the one who prepared the sacrifice by hymns. Dashad should give, should share, should impart. Yo asmai, who should impart for the one aram suktaihi, who for him made aram, made is omitted, but made alam in the post-Vedic, made it decorated or prepared, who prepared for him with suktas, with perfect utterances, with perfect self-expressions of consciousness, who made for him a sacrifice. This is an important part, sukta, the word which is perfectly expressing consciousness, because this, the word, the speech itself is an action of consciousness. we don't have any other action of consciousness, only through the words. The words may be articulated as languages of speech, but also can be articulated in many other ways, like dance, or gesture, body language, or painting, or music. There are many languages through which we can articulate this self-expression of higher consciousness. So it's not only the hymns, but they are the closest, the closest to that self-expression. The hymns, perfect utterances. Perfect because they act upon our consciousness immediately, upon our outer consciousness. They change it, they influence it. We feel the presence of the Spirit through the words. Eta chikitva bhumani pahi, and etani, knowing, or etaha bhumaha chikitva, knowing all these worlds, nipahi, protect them totally from within, ni, from within, fill them in with your presence, literally, nipahi. We spoke about that protection can be of different kind. Rutpa, to protect by filling, and rutraksh, to protect by scaring away other undesired forces. So many ways of protecting. So this is protect by fulfilling, by filling from within, from the bottom up. Protect these worlds, becoming aware of them, you protect them. Devanam Janma, and the birth of the gods, Martan Vidvan, knowing the mortals. Knowing can be for both, knowing the birth of the gods, and it doesn't fit because Martan is the accusative. I translated wrong. It doesn't fit. And mortal man, it's very good. Koma and mortal man, how Sri Aurobindo follows. He doesn't connect, it's not the birth of mortal man. It's not an accusative, it's and mortal man protect, because mortal man is already born, as it were, when the gods are not yet born. So protect the birth of the gods and the mortal men who are born. So the birth of the gods is taking place in mortal man, most probably. These are forces to be born through mantras, as it is believed, because when we pronounce these suktas, these utterances, with these hymns, the devatas, the gods, are coming to life in our consciousness and start acting. So that's why Devanam is a genitive and the Martansha accusative case. And mortal. I mean, I have to put comma here, and that would be okay. Yeah, you understand the difference, yes? So what the mistake could be made because one can just not look at this accusative thoroughly, but it stands out. Conscious one who knows Vidvan, conscious Chikitva, or conscious Chikitvas in invocation, who knows Vidvan, protect all these worlds or fill them in, etab huma nipahi, by filling them with your presence, also protect the birth of the gods, pahi devanam janma, and mortals, martanscha. Can be also other ways of translating, because Vidvan can be a knowing Vidvan and birth of gods. Knowing Vidvan, knowing the mortals and birth of gods, protect all these worlds, becoming aware of them. Can be another interpretation, but the same actions are there. Sorry for this. What interpretation you like more? Is there something ringing the bell? No?
The first one,
The first one.
that the gods are born in man, they come to life through these hymns, through the sacrifice.
Right. This is traditional view, yes. When Sayana explains Svadhyaya, why Svadhyaya is important, why reading hymns for oneself is important, because through those words, all the gods are coming to birth in man who knows the Vedas. And not only knows, but who reads them to himself and understand the meaning of them, because reading and understanding the meaning, it's like heaven and earth coming together. And they create the environment for the gods to be born. If one reads the mantras without knowing the meaning, then it's not a sacrifice. Yeah.
So the
So-
gods being born, could it also mean the developing of the higher consciousness in mortal men?
Yes, definitely. Higher consciousness, or some elements of this higher consciousness, because there is an infinite development of higher consciousness. So these gods, when they come, they bring with them those elements or those forces or that light which is needed, or that peace or bliss which is needed for change of consciousness of man. Yes. And so this takes place step by step and constantly and always. Yeah? There's much to do within this antariksha between heaven and earth. All these forces come in and they charge us with their higher light and power and bliss. So we are becoming something else in a moment. And then it goes and we fall down, and again we express this higher consciousness in words, and again they are born, and again constantly. That's why we read poetry. That's why we are looking for higher expressions in art and culture, because that is giving us the ground, higher ground, for higher consciousness to manifest. And there is bliss involved in it. There is a joy of progressing and growing out of darkness into light. And that attracts our being.
That's why we keep repeating it again and again, because of the bliss derived.
And notice when we repeat it unconsciously, mechanically, the bliss is not there. But when we involve understanding or some fresh understanding, new understanding, there is always this element of bliss. All right.
No, wait, Vladimir, 1 minute.
Yeah.
So if we go to the previous one, it's the night. We want to go into. No, you don't have to go. I'm just connecting.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
You don't have to go back, Vladimir.
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay. So we come from. It is a night. We come from the light. We're going to the light. In the night, those of us or everyone, we want to sacrifice towards this and towards this consciousness or higher consciousness. So the Agni gives us the riches, as in the ability to move consciously up. And then as we do, we have to also guard these worlds in which this cycle of repetition and evolution is going on. Am I getting it correct?
Oh, yeah, I think so. And he gives these riches. These riches are delights, actually. Sri Aurobindo says that Raich is not only the wealth which has some value which we don't know we can sell. No, that wealth is actually the delight.
Yeah, that I got. I mean, unless you are passionate about something and it is giving you something deep, why would you even do it? Right?
Yeah,
Like you are
and
saying in this class, there is a delight which is the real riches, right? So
right. And it's not because you don't get it, because I don't get it, I say it. So to get it. So the delight is what is interesting with the riches and delight which we get. Notice very interesting thing. I had such a good thought. That about value of things, what is value in things? I was thinking the other day, economically, value. Value, if there is a demand, there is a need, then value grows. If there is no need, value falls. There can be a very beautiful car, I don't know, some very rich, but there is no demand, because there is no petrol, there is nobody driving, nobody knows how to start it. So the value of these things disappears, it becomes zero. But then, because of need of this, or this delight, need of delight, the value grows immediately. So this is something interesting about the value as Reich, as the wealth. What is wealth? Wealth is a need for partaking, for participating, for enjoying, partaking as enjoying, yes, in manifestation. So the value grows when the delight grows, which this thing can give you. Yeah? And the delight is nothing but more conscious existence, or higher possibility of conscious existence. This is something I'm first time trying to unfold the Reich as value.
but you also said value is connected to the need. So because everybody would find delight in various different things, so the valuation of various things changes on an individualistic manner, and then collectively something is decided as valuable. Like for example, I met a very old lady in a village in West Bengal, and she asked me, how many ponds do I have? I said, pond? She said, yeah, I have 3 ponds, one for cleaning the dishes, one for us for bathing, and one from where we cook our food and offer to the God. I said, I have no pond. And she said, oh my God, poor girl, you must be so poor. And she hugged me. So you see that the value for that time or that village or from where she came, because I'm talking about some 20 years ago, and she was already in her 90s. So at that time for her, the value was having your own water body was of value, right? And then all of us have taps and distilleries and canisters. So we have no value for the pond. So we have lost the delight in water itself. It is just something which kind of runs our life because it's a necessity. So the need, the necessity, the delight, I mean, there is, and value. So there are always like at an interplay with time, it changes. Like for example, the stock market is something very valuable for a lot of people. But during pandemic, and I had many clients whose stocks just fell and they completely lost meaning and purpose in their life. And it wasn't just the loss of money, it was the something that they held with a lot of value and power, and diminishing that just completely destroyed their stability, So
Yeah.
I mean, so my question was again about those who are conscious, they have to guard, that is playing in my head. That's what I want to understand deeply.
Yeah, if we go deeper into this, what is need? I was thinking, you said again, you came to the need. It's the need which determines the value, yes? And what are we needing yeah, in this manifestation? And that would be, the answer would be very simple, the delight. the delight of being we need. We need more and more the delight. And that is the criteria of the truth. Yeah? Because one thing is pleasure. Pleasure is a small delight. Yeah? And piling up pleasures, small delights, doesn't increase the delight. It kind of exhausts the being and makes it more and more vulnerable and open to death and dying. And but really increasing the delight. There is the whole chapter in Taittiriya which describes the delight in stages. And interestingly, the first stage of delight, imagine, Taittiriya says, that you are the king of the whole earth, you are healthy, wealthy, you have all the delights of earth. Everything is accessible to you. Anything you want to enjoy is given. This is the one delight. And now they start moving from this human delight to some lower god's delight, to Gandharva's delight, and it multiplies 100 times until we come to the delight of Brahman, the creator. So there's like 100 like at least dozen stages, 100 times multiplying the previous delight. So the first basic delight, which we think as pleasure, as delight, is actually the measurement, one measurement, which has to be multiplied 100 times to achieve that new quality of delight. So we are all looking for delight, because the delight is the measure of consciousness in being. Yeah? So the more we are conscious in the being, the more delight we can experience. So the more we manifest the divine, which is here, hiding behind everything, and wants to come forward. And there is only one way to come forward, is to get more delight.
So Vladimir, since it's the levels of consciousness, is it because we are evolving all the time in our consciousness from the lower to the higher, since we are evolutionary creatures?
Yeah. We are constantly evolving, and this constant evolution and shift and change towards higher delight, towards more refined enjoyment, let us say the enjoyment word, yeah? Towards more refined bliss and truth, is actually, this is the only way which we can feel fulfilled. Progress, constant moving forward. As the Veda says, man is an ever advancing pilgrim, never stopping, always moving forward and forward. There is no stopping. The moment we stop and are satisfied with what we achieved, we fall back. We become the food for others. We die. Yes, there is no other way. And that is constantly accumulating and bringing more and more delight. By the way, the idea of delight is that delight is everywhere, and it has to flow through us, through others. We have to share the delight with others. We cannot accumulate it for ourselves. We cannot take it and hold it, withhold it, because we become thieves, and thieves are stopping in developing. So accumulating delight for oneself selfishly is not moving forward, not progressing. Yeah. So we have to pass it. It has to flow through us to the world. It's not ours. Delight is not ours. It does not belong to us, yeah? And cannot belong to us. It's the divine delight which creates the worlds. We have to let it flow through us. And what Vritra does, Vritra accumulates it, takes it away, and holds it, withholds it from man. So Vritra has to be killed in us. This selfish being in us has to be destroyed. We should stop being afraid to be, to live. Yeah? we are afraid to live because our this inconscient inheritance which we got from the previous stages of evolution could survive only by protecting itself and fighting with others. So we got this instinct of protecting ourselves, constantly trying to preserve energy, not to spend the energy. Spending the energy is allowing energy to flow. In the nature, we can see this. It's very natural and normal. I was always wondering why they are not economizing animals or these why they are following the natural flow of nature, because they just in this flow, whatever the divine wants them to be, they are. They don't do artificial movements as human beings do, put everything into the banks and then from there, drop by drop, trying to organize their relations with others. It's a very mental management. All right, I maybe stop here because only 5 minutes left, and there was not from you. I want to hear your words. Oh, Gunhild is here also. Gunhild is my old friend. We studied together in Pune University. She was doing her PhD in Upanishads, so it's kind of nice to see her from Germany, from Bonn. I met first time when I came to Pune in 91. I met Gunhild there in the university also studying her thing. And she was the first person I met who was in Sri Aurobindo ashram and who met the mother. For me, it was such a gift. We became immediately friends. And from that time on, we are very good friends. Yes, Gunhild, are we friends or not?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
In this world, who will say no, Vladimir, when you ask a question like that? Hey, are you my friend? No, I'm not your friend. Maybe I can say that. But real people can't say. And then you say thank you also. We thought Gunhild was meditating, actually. So she was not the friend.
Yeah, Sanskrit scholar. It's a very rare in our midst of somebody who is a scholar and studied philosophy, and in Sri Aurobindo's light, that's what it is. I wanted to emphasize that part.
You're also the same. You're also the same.
Yeah, in a way.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. For me, it makes totally sense. I do not know how I came to this, but it was so natural that I don't even think about it. It was always natural from the beginning to discover the texts, because texts are giving us more scope for thinking in integral yoga terms. It's another language or another system of thought which helps us to discover more Sri Aurobindo and to see the value. Because if we start with Sri Aurobindo as if some new, philosopher or new sage, and it has nothing to do with the past, with the Indian past, then it would be totally unfair and not true. Because of this historical depth, Sri Aurobindo has value for whole India and the whole world. He says that he doesn't start a new path. He just continues the path of the Veda. So now we are looking into the Vedic vision in his light, that helps us to understand the intention of the group soul, what we are here to do. what was the plan in this Manvantara? This was the plan: to do the sacrifice, to express the higher consciousness, to invoke the devatas through flame, through aspiration in our hearts, and to follow the path, to grow in consciousness. And each hymn is telling us this. Yeah. So by reading it, we are kind of fulfilling our mission, in this Manvantara. Joining the party, that light party of the rishis.
You know, this in my last visit in Auroville, I went to Bharat Nivas and there was an exhibition on Mother, with pictures and a little bit about her. And it was more like a human person, the way the whole exhibition was. For the first time, I felt like that. And I saw on Sri Aurobindo again and Savitri Bhavan, the whole exhibition. And, I thought, I mean, I get very frustrated sometimes in my class if something very basic somebody doesn't understand, which for me is basic. So my assistant tells me, you are teaching class 10 material to somebody who's just in kindergarten, obviously, and you are frustrating. That's very wrong, very bad. And I'm thinking, how do I learn how to, I'm thinking. And when I saw this exhibition, I realized, oh my God, even now there are maybe just 100 people trying to understand Sri Aurobindo and what he said and did and everything in Mother. Imagine how frustrating it could have been for them 100 years ago. They were doing this. I mean, I just thought about it and I just completely, like, my entire ego and arrogance just crashed. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Everybody in kindergarten, nursery kids will play. Forget about anything. We know nothing. But I just felt, because sometimes it's really difficult. And I just thought, wow, what is it that can make someone go on and on and on every second in so many dimensions, on so many planes, for the entire planet and maybe cosmos? What is that? What is that? What in that breath are they inhaling? That 1,000 threads are coming to light. I don't know. That was my feeling when I saw the exhibition. So it just came out right now.
Absolutely. And I notice every time there is something else, some other aspect, because you are in a totally different waters, because the flow of time changes your context. And in this context, this hymn plays differently, every time differently. Every time new facet of the truth is being, activated within you. And there is no end to it. And one should see it as the activation of higher consciousness rather than some understanding by the mind. Understanding by the mind is nothing. It's very little part. It's needed there because it has to hold the structure. But to make it active, to make it alive, to feel that the gods are born within you, that there is some additional delight, light, peace. This is something what these hymns are for.
And to guard, the word guard also, right? To be able to guard that light needs so much more alertness than just being conscious of it.
Yeah, the guarding of the light is also interesting because now we should not also think to be stuck with something we know. We need to be courageous enough to step into the unknown. I like this idea of, you said it many times, I don't know anything. Yes, you don't know anything. That's why you may know something. Because if you know already everything, then it is very difficult to know. Yeah. So you are already preoccupied, packed with something which does not permit you to open up to the truth. And to open up to the truth, you need to step out from that which you are comfortable with, which you may remember and may very well explain, but don't explain it that way, the way you know. Just wait and look for it a little differently, and a new explanation comes, new perception, which is full of delight, fresh delight. We can feel this when we explain in the terms we already know, the delight is less. Yeah? But when we discover something every time, the delight is there immediately.
I think it's a construct of an adult mind. A grown-up mind is like, okay, I know this. For example, my son once tells me, because he's becoming a musician and all that. He says, "Oh my God, I know it now, and you know it now. We know it at the same time." I said, if I got to know at 45 and you got to know at 14, that means this is so great, because you already know at 14 what I'm knowing at 45. So actually, and he's like, can this training stop sometimes, like the way you are training? I said, I'm not training you. I'm just when I'll be born after 3 years, 3 lifetimes, 3 decades, I don't know when. So then, like, now we have a class only on Friday. So I'm in this delight for 2 hours. And then I go back to the regular world, right? So, but you will stay for 4 hours, and your children for 8 hours, and then for 16 hours. Like that, evolution is happening. So if you know anything more than me, it is super exciting and delightful for me, because that means we are doing it correct. He said, "You're so mad." And he left, because it was showing me hope in the future.
There is something also about knowledge. Knowledge is not something you can have. It's not something which stays also. This is something interesting. So you have to allow it to go, so to say. You cannot keep it, you cannot really hold it by force. It won't work. So you have to be ready to be that ever advancing pilgrim, as Sri Aurobindo translates the man. You have to go forward. Don't be afraid to leave your knowledge behind, because new knowledge is coming. And it will always come. So this kind of freedom we need to receive knowledge. Otherwise, we will be always stuck with having and arranging and preoccupied with being right, being understood, being on the top of things. You don't need to be on the top. Be yourself and move forward. This is the top of your things. So this is the best you can be. So I always understood that knowledge comes and goes, and now we are knowledgeable, and in 5 minutes we will lose it. We will be again ordinary or even stupid. Or I can be sure, I can speak about myself. And then again I will have to gain the state. I have to, again to call. I have to call, open, receive. And then again and again and again, until the substance is changing to the extent that I become easily receptive of the higher presence. And it takes long journey. So we have to be ready and to be happy that we have long journey, not short one. All right. Okay, great. We are finished with the class. Class is at 1 hour earlier. I see Raphael joined us maybe 1 hour later. Yeah. We're just closing down. So if you want to join, then 1 hour early. All right. So I close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. See you. Bye. Namaste.